Hey everyone, welcome back to Spiral Emanations. This is our stories, secrets, and mysteries that live just beneath the surface. I'm Sky Gracely coming to you tonight from Los Angeles, and across the world for me.
That's me, Reese Sparrows, here in London. It's all rainy windows and nighttime city lights on my end, so perfect for a bit of the unknown.
And if you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. This is the show where we untangle legends, spotlight lost histories, and make sense of weird news. We always look for the stories people usually miss. Ready to get a little curious, Reese?
Always. Especially tonight. There's some truly wild stuff on your list.
Okay, quick sampler of what's coming. There's a lost palace showing up where no one thought it existed, a canoe in Florida that shouldn't be there, and stones glowing in the deepest parts of the sea.
And the most intriguing thing, there's this idea some researchers have of an ancient system quietly connecting all these mysteries. From royal ruins to deep-sea secrets, could something fundamental be operating under our feet, hidden in plain sight? We're putting that theory to the test tonight.
But hang on, start with some real-world weirdness. Reese, you have to hear this. This weekend, I went to a new coffee shop in Northridge, totally decked out in old Trapper Keepers, Beanie Babies, the most 90s vibe ever. I'm minding my own business, drinking a lavender oat latte, and bam, total blackout. All the power goes out.
Pick Sky experience. Did the ghosts short out the power, or just your coffee order?
Could go either way. The barista starts passing out real candles, like actual wax. So we're sitting there by candlelight, and people start swapping childhood stories to pass the time. I told the one about my haunted Lisa Frank binder from 3rd grade. Honestly, classic me.
You had haunted school supplies. This does explain quite a lot, actually. Somewhere out there's got to be a market for paranormal stationery.
If you see spirit-infused gel pens, let me know. But really, it became a cozy storytelling group. The barista even named me Weirdest Customer of the Week. Candlelight and ghosteries, I felt right at home.
And if the power hadn't come back, maybe you'd have started channeling spirits for espresso shots.
Only the decaf kind, promise. How about you, Reese? Anything mysterious in London?
You could say that. Last week, Trafalgar Square went all in for Diwali. Huge music, lights, and about 1,000 people dancing. I somehow got swept into a Bollywood flash mob. No warning at all. And yes, before you ask, I was absolutely wearing my silk cape.
Please tell me someone got a video. Was it actually magical, or just the cape working overtime?
More the latter, I'm afraid. My embroidered slipper vanished somewhere in the chaos, and a little girl kept shouting, "Dance, wizard, dance!" So I think my reputation's set for life. The cape survived better than I did.
Legend status confirmed. Next time, enchant your shoes for extra security.
If only I could. Would have saved myself a bit of embarrassment.
Oh, and for newcomers, let me introduce Brian. He's our tech and editing genius. He's the one untangling our rambling stories and, honestly, saving us from ourselves. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, cheers, Brian. You're the keeper of the realm around here.
All right, mystery fans, let's see what the world has been unearthing. History, science, and the genuinely strange. Reese, ready for these headlines?
Ready as ever. So, Sky, why don't you start us off? Want to tell us about what's happening in Poland?
Definitely. This story from Poland really caught my attention. There's breaking news about the lost royal palace, Villa Regia, that's got historians buzzing.
That sounds incredible. Where did they actually end up finding these palace remains, Sky?
Right in the Vistula River, just outside Warsaw. Archaeologists uncovered marble fragments and ruins that had sunk during the catastrophic war in the 160s-50s. And now they're hoping to digitally reconstruct the whole palace, with help from the Museum of Polish History.
And it's not just Europe surprising us. Over in Florida, Hurricane Ian in 2022 revealed a totally unexpected treasure, a dugout canoe made from mahogany wood, which is almost unheard of in Florida.
Mahogany? That's so strange for Florida. I didn't even think that was a local wood. Do the researchers think it drifted in from somewhere else, or could it be part of a bigger mystery?
Exactly. It's actually the first mahogany canoe ever discovered in Florida, and the style doesn't match the usual pine or cypress canoes. Right now, experts are looking at whether it came from somewhere else, or if it points to unexpected ancient travel routes.
So, between surprise boats and royal ruins, it feels like the world's full of hidden stories waiting to pop out. And get this, over in Spain, researchers in the Andalusian mountains stumbled onto an accidental treasure hunt, thanks to some very resourceful bearded vultures.
Wait, so you mean the vultures actually collected things people left behind? Like, they brought human-made objects into their nests? Or...
Yep, exactly. Over 200 items were found in vulture nests, like preserved medieval sandals, painted leather, woven baskets, even arrowheads. The birds ended up protecting a snapshot of life from generations ago, and now scientists are studying their accidental finds.
Nature really is brilliant at holding on to secrets. Which brings us to the next headline, an underwater mystery about potato-like rocks called polymetallic nodules that, surprisingly, are at the center of a hidden deep-sea ecosystem.
Wait, are these the rocks you always see in documentary footage of the sea for? What did scientists uncover about them now?
Exactly. The new twist is incredible. Scientists discovered that special microbes living on these nodules actually produce oxygen, letting all sorts of bizarre deep-sea creatures exist without sunlight. It's like a completely alien ecosystem living off these rocks.
It's kind of mind-blowing. Between an ancient palace, an unexpected canoe, medieval artifacts delivered by birds, and oxygen-producing rocks, we're getting front-row seats to some amazing mysteries this week.
Exactly. Stories like this really drive home that there's so much going on beneath the surface, sometimes literally. It makes you wonder how all these pieces might actually connect.
And since we keep running into connections between nature, history, and strange events, we've invited someone who's spent years tracing these links. We're thrilled to welcome Dr. Malgorzata Wroblewski, Gosiata, to the show.
Thank you both. It's a pleasure to be here. I've always loved watching how folklore and science overlap. Their intersections can reveal so much about the hidden systems shaping our world.
That's a fantastic way to put it. So Gosha, with all these discoveries surfacing lately, do you see an actual pattern weaving them together, or are we just connecting random stories?
There's a definite pattern. Each of these unique finds, whether found after a storm or rescued by birds, can be read as echoes of an ancient system that runs deeper than we ever realize. Some of us refer to this as the Hyperborean Engine, a planetary network whose remnants we keep stumbling on, each clue bringing us closer to understanding how it once kept things balanced.
Gosia, when you talk about this network, how old are we talking? Is this something that dates back to ancient civilizations, or even further?
Much further back, the evidence points to a time over 20,000 years ago, long before any known civilization. What we're finding points to a group we now call the Hyperborean Engineers, not just early humans, but possibly something more. Their goal wasn't just survival, they aimed to turn Earth into a kind of living temple, engineered for stability and life, blending technology and myth deep in the planet's design.
So, just to break it down, you're saying there was an ancient engineered network that keeps Earth running. That's wild. We hear myths about world centers, like the Omphalos at Delphi or the Ben Ben stone in Egypt. Are you actually finding evidence of similar designs or materials at sites all over the world?
Yes, those stones in sacred places aren't just metaphors. They're physical markers, anchor points for this old network. If you look closely, you'll find the same unusual patterns. Metals blended in strange ways. Geometric layouts you don't see in typical architecture. Stone veins that react to magnets. Different countries, different cultures, but the same fingerprints always show up.
So if these patterns are so widespread, who actually started it all? Was it ancient kings? Or does it go back even further?
That's where things get unusual. The oldest evidence points to a lineage that wasn't quite us. Some call them Hyperborean Engineers. They were human, but seemingly changed, maybe shaped by extreme environments, or perhaps by something even stranger. There's debate over whether their discoveries were independent, or if, as old legends suggest, they were guided by the mentors, beings not exactly of our world. Some traditions frame them as benevolent guides, others as subtle manipulators. And there are even hints that the network's purpose went beyond just maintaining balance for life on Earth. It may have been built, at least in part, to channel the planet's energies for the use of those mentors, almost turning Earth into a kind of living battery or transmitter. It sounds bizarre, but myths from different cultures describe visitors or teachers who appeared at these very sites. It's a theory that changes how we think about Earth's deepest history and our role in it.
Let's say we walked along the river and you pointed out one of these nodes. What would I actually see or touch? Would it just look like any other rock, or does it stand out somehow?
You'd notice it. I remember the first time at Villa Regia, in the mud by the river. I picked up a block of marble, and it just felt wrong somehow. Colder, heavier. I set down my magnetometer, and boom, odd spikes. At the same time, my hydroscope started doing the same thing. That's not supposed to happen. And then, under polarized light, blue veins in the stone glowed in a pattern, like an old star chart or cosmogram. Other researchers saw the weird readings too, and I heard something, just faintly, water moving, almost like a choir far away. I know it sounds wild, but that's what happened.
Wow. And officially, that was listed as what? Just an artifact inclusion or something?
Exactly. The reports called it a strange inclusion, probably an error, but we couldn't ignore the patterns, and the data repeated again when we tested it. One of my colleagues, who listens to spiral emanations, saw my results and pushed me to talk with you both.
Have you or any other researchers seen these kinds of strange signals, those alloys or the magnetic readings, in sites outside Poland? Is this something much older or bigger than just these current finds?
Yes, absolutely. We're finding these markers from Spain to the Americas. Every few months, someone sends me a new report. Magnetism, metals, sometimes even similar geometry in ancient stonework. It's becoming a worldwide pattern. I stand on the shoulders of many who noticed these patterns before me. My mentor, Professor Alexander Zeich, pieced together much of the Vistula's hidden history. He even warned about the dangers of disturbing these nodes, but his research was mostly ignored or buried. And Dr. Dolores Nunez in Spain made the breakthrough linking rare animal behaviors to grid activity, showing that the system is trying to maintain itself, sometimes by recruiting birds or mammals to move key pieces back into place.
So this isn't just a Polish or even European thing. Are these nodes really everywhere, like a global network?
Pretty much everywhere. Step pyramids in the Americas, standing stones in Britain, giant cairns in Central Asia. You find the same hidden patterns. Some researchers joke that if you mapped the whole grid, you'd see a planet-sized circuit diagram. And honestly, some even wonder if similar structures could be on Mars or the Moon. Maybe it's not just Earth, just more developed here. The designs didn't just spread by coincidence either. After the original system's collapse, survivors, master builders, and geomancers embedded the same energy blueprints into everything from stone circles to royal palaces. In Eastern Europe, for example, the legendary Polarian Lady encoded resonance patterns in city layouts and river crossings, shaping the landscape for centuries. The more we study the grid, the more we see features like spiral arrangements or certain metallic veins, not only on Earth, but echoed in satellite imagery from the Moon and Mars. It hints we're not the only world with this kind of architecture.
On a personal note, Dosha, what's it like knowing you might be holding a piece of something that connects rivers, cities, maybe the whole world? Is it more thrilling or scary or both?
At first, it was a thrill, like finding a hidden key, something magical. But then it sinks in. If this network is real, moving even a single stone isn't just changing our idea of history, it might actually shift something in the world right now. That's exciting, but a little terrifying too. It's a huge responsibility.
Do you think being so close to these nodes, or coming from a family that's watched over them for generations, carries personal risks? Are there dangers in being attuned to the grid?
This attunement can pass down through families, almost like a genetic memory. My grandmother, for instance, would dream of river stones and circuitry she'd never seen, and I felt inexplicably pulled back to key sites myself. Some in my family have had intense dreams or sudden illnesses, or felt drawn to the same spot again and again, as if the place left a mark on them. Sometimes it brought insight or healing, but just as often it was a real burden. That's why we have strict rituals. We document everything, limit our time, and step back if things feel heavy. Not everyone should interact with these objects, and sometimes it's best to leave them alone. Yes, I can try. With the Villa Regia arch, for example, that's a chunk of marble bigger than most people's coffee tables, easily 200 kilos, but weight's not the strange bit. The stone has these fine copper wires running straight through it, and even a second silvery metal I still can't identify. Up close, it's truly otherworldly. Weird geometric patterns, veins that almost look like alien circuitry. And at certain angles, the surface reflects blue and gold light, like some kind of shifting undercurrent. When you bring a compass near, the needle starts spinning or shaking. Sometimes, if you touch it, you can feel a faint pulsing or sense something moving beneath the surface. I've even seen the patterns shift and shimmer under polarized light, as if the stone is alive or communicating in a language we're just starting to decode. You'd feel it, at least I have. If you touch it, it's always cold, even on a sunny day. There can be a tingling sensation, almost like static, and some people notice a metallic smell, like ozone or pennies. At the museum, visitors told us the hair on their arms would stand up. Kids almost always notice something strange, even if they don't know the signs.
That's really interesting. So, Gozia, with everything you're describing, is this system just old technology, or is it actually alive somehow? Like, does it behave like a living network?
That's what we keep circling back to. The deeper I study it, the more it feels alive. The ocean nodules act like batteries and filters, maintaining balance in ways no machine can match. And those palaces and standing stones, they're not just clever architecture, they're like pressure points or energy gateways, tuned to where the planet needs them. It's not just a machine, it's more like a system of planetary organs working together and adapting. When the network senses external threats, things like nearby mining, strong EM fields, or even too much attention from investigators, I've seen sites change their behavior. Magnetic signatures shift, animals suddenly vacate or return. Sometimes, the network seems to camouflage itself, almost hiding in plain sight. Other times, it sends signals that are unmistakable, like a living body trying to heal or defend itself.
That actually lines up so well with the old stories. Ancient Greece had the Omphalos. People called it the navel of the world and believed it was a source of earth energy. Egypt had the Benben stone. Britons covered in old standing stones. All those legends talk about special spots where the world's power pools. So, do the real nodes you find match those legends, in shapes, directions, or materials?
Yes, almost eerie how closely they line up. A lot of the places where fragments turn up are right on the old maps of energy crossings. People now call those ley lines. The nettles are almost always set in spirals or grids, mirroring those lines. Regia's old blueprints actually show certain pillars set to north, south, east, west, exactly like Delphi or Stonehenge. And even that Florida canoe, totally unexpected. It had these tiny copper pins arranged in a geometric grid, almost identical to what I've seen in palace blueprints in Central Europe. Whoever made them was following the same design rules.
So this system, is it actually still working? Or are we poking at it and making things happen by accident just by digging up and moving these pieces? Have you ever seen something real change right after one of these discoveries?
Those are the questions that keep me up at night. Right after we took out the Villa Regia arch, the current in the Vistula changed almost overnight. Sediment shifted, revealing more of the foundations, way faster than our models predicted. Then in Andalusia, a solar flare shifted the local magnetic field, and vultures started moving old basket fragments up to higher ledges. It doesn't feel random. It's like the network is reacting whenever we poke at it. In some of the worst cases, those reactions aren't just local. The network triggers wider defensive responses. We've linked grid disruptions to sudden river floods, bizarre freezes, even ancient stories of time vanishing or repeating itself. These reset events appear all over Earth's with history. Now we're starting to think they're part of a defense mechanism, designed to restore balance at almost any cost. Time takes great offer to the outside meeting.
That gives me chills. It actually reminds me of old tales where birds guide heroes to hidden places or guard treasure. Gozia, are birds still seen as guardians where you work? And what about other animals, like beavers? I've heard Native American stories that talk about beavers shaping rivers in ways that matter for the land.
Yes, the folk stories are still alive, especially with the older folks by the river. For example, there's a warning that if you bother the swallows' nests, you'll bring trouble home. That's part of an old tradition where birds are seen as protectors. And, yes, our field teams have tracked beavers building dams exactly where we pick up spikes in magnetic readings. It's so consistent, the ecologists started joking that the animals know more about the Earth than we do. And these behaviors show up in independent surveys too.
Let me see if I understand. We aren't just talking about pretty ruins or old fairy tales. There are actual physical changes we can measure, like compass needles spinning, unexpected floods or river shifts, maybe even animals migrating in odd patterns. And the timing lines up with when these sites are discovered or disrupted?
It's much deeper. The more patterns we see, the clearer it becomes. Animals like beavers and vultures seem to act almost as system relays. Their behavior aligns too precisely with the underlying network to be chance. It's as if the grid has programmed the natural world to help maintain itself, and we can track it. When something is moved or uncovered at a site, there's a bounce in the data right afterward. What's remarkable is how precise these animals can be, sometimes even more reliable than modern machines. It's almost like the grid has its own living maintenance crew, birds, beavers, dolphins, each performing exactly the tasks or movements the network needs, as if they're following some greater biological program that was written into Earth itself. And now, it's not just stories anymore, it's in the research logs.
Wow, that's a lot. And I mean, it sounds kind of risky, doesn't it? Like we could mess things up by accident.
It is risky. That's what scares me. We don't always know what the effects will be. Moving a single piece or doing deep-sea mining could upset balances put in place thousands of years ago. It might cause river surges, new animal migrations, or something else we haven't even imagined.
So for people listening, if this grid really is under strain, what should they actually watch for in the real world? What would count as a clear sign the network's being pushed or waking up?
There are a few good signs. First, if a riverbed suddenly collapses or shifts right after a dig, or archaeological work at a known node site, that's a clue. Or, if you hear about two nearly identical artifacts popping up in faraway places around the same time, pay attention. And if animals, birds, bugs, even beavers, start moving together in weird, deliberate patterns nobody's seen before, that's another big one. These are logged in field notes, and sometimes you'll even see them mentioned in local news.
I hope everyone's taking notes, because this is wild. Before we dive back into the latest headlines, Gozia or Reese, is there anything simple you'd tell someone who's just now realizing the world might be full of hidden machinery like this?
You know, after hearing all this about the Hyperborean Engine, I can't help but rethink those news stories from earlier, especially Villa Regia. Gozia, if these palace fragments are actually like surface nodes, does taking them out or moving them change anything? I mean, beyond just the museum display. Maybe those legends about lucky stones or bad luck ruins weren't just spooky stories. Do you think they were warnings?
I really do, Reese. When we pulled that big marble arch from the river, the vistula changed. Fast. The mud and sand shifted in hours, and old pieces of the foundation even topped up downstream. That's not normal. Growing up, the elders always warned, never move the heartstone, or the river will move too. I used to think it was just a saying, but now it feels more like instructions. Even one stone out of place can tip the balance. What's fascinating is that these old proverbs, rituals, even songs and dances may actually be remnants of encoded instructions. Ways to keep the grid healthy or to stabilize a node after disruption. Our ancestors might not have fully understood what they were preserving, but their traditions often contain the repair codes the system needs.
So, do you think the destruction of Villa Regia was just due to the chaos of war, or was there more to it? Some kind of deeper plan or secret struggle?
It was definitely both. Villa Regia was the ceremonial crown node for Eastern Europe. Its destruction wasn't just random. There's credible evidence that rival factions targeted it. Some wanted to hide it from invaders, others feared it would be misused. In legend, Count Eric the Unburied is said to have sacrificed himself to seal the palace's core, maybe even ending up entombed with the grid's heart. Queen Ludmila, the famous blind queen, was said to be psychically attuned to the hidden stone her whole life. Even recently, guardians like Professor Alexander Zeitz tried to warn about destabilizing the site, but those warnings were mostly hushed up, or worse. These struggles weren't always between nations. Often, it was hidden factions within the same culture, trying to either control the grid's power or keep it dormant and safe. Many so-called natural disasters or sudden wars can actually be traced back to these secret battles. The stakes were enormous, and sometimes the only way to protect the world was to risk collapse in one place to save the larger balance.
That's wild. So someone was walking along the river back then? Would they have even noticed anything? Did locals see anything strange? Or did it all seem normal?
Oh, absolutely. Less than a day after we moved the marble, villagers saw flocks of water birds flying in impossibly perfect formations down the river, just as the old parish records described from a century ago. But that wasn't all. For about 40 minutes, a blue mist pooled over the water, drifting and settling until it formed crisp geometric shapes, almost as if you were glimpsing blueprints or circuitry traced on the current itself. Some people's compasses spun or flickered, and several swore time seemed to slow, like everything was suspended and humming. There was a faint resonance, like distant singing through stone. It was eerie, beautiful, and deeply unsettling, a sense that you were witnessing the river's secret language coming to life all around you. It isn't just a story, you can feel it, right in your bones.
That gives me chills. Okay, so let's switch to the ocean, the story about those dark oxygen rocks. This new science, where disturbing those nodules makes oxygen and suddenly brings swarms of jellyfish moving in spirals. It reminds me of all those old legends about surprise blooms in the sea or odd animal gatherings. Gozia, have you found any sign that river events and ocean events talk to each other? Like, could poking around in one place set off a reaction somewhere else? Maybe kind of like that old saying, as above, so below. I mean, do you really see a chain reaction like that?
Yes, and it keeps surprising us. My team is actually tracking what we call pulse events between river sites and the deep sea. When people dig or mine nodules out in the ocean, we've logged animals changing their behavior far away. Like beavers in certain mapped rivers, suddenly building dams in a pattern that matches ocean measurements. We can't explain it with regular weather or animal routines. It really feels like the whole system, land and water, talks through lines we can't see.
That's incredible. So, say more museums put node artifacts on display, or companies start mining those ocean nodules. What should regular people be watching for? Not disaster movie stuff, just the everyday signs. What would actually tell someone the grid is acting up here?
Great question. First, keep an eye out for similar artifact pieces showing up at the same time, but on opposite sides of a country or even the world. Second, watch if birds or bugs or fish start doing big group migrations at weird times, like way too early or late. Third, if your local river suddenly goes crystal clear or changes color right after work at a dig site, pay attention. And last, if public statues or historical buildings start forming new cracks or if magnets stick to them where they never did before. All that is from our field notes. It's real. These are practical signs, not just legend.
It honestly feels like stepping into a legend. I mean, in Greek or Polish stories, when someone messed with an ancient relic, the world answered. Storms, strange lights, or animals acting wild. People back then called those portents, basically, signs from the universe. I guess maybe those old stories weren't made up after all. Maybe people were just watching what really happened around them when something changed.
Yeah, that really hits home. Regia, if we keep digging up sites or mining these nodules without thinking, what could actually happen? Is it like some kind of domino effect? Nature just starts to fall apart? And is there any way we can actually fix this? Or is it too late?
If this situation is so urgent and the signs are everywhere, why isn't it headline news? Why do you think most people aren't even aware of these discoveries or the risks involved?
Some of the silence is intentional. There have been cases where research vanishes, artifacts get quietly mislabeled, even scientists sidelined for asking the wrong questions. And sometimes the secrecy is deliberate, whole digs shut down or classified, powerful interests making sure certain evidence stays hidden. Supposedly rational institutions have used myths and superstition to suppress the truth, because admitting what some of these artifacts mean could upend everything we know.
So even now, it's easier for people to turn it into a story than face what it might actually mean?
Exactly. Myths and folklore let people box up the unknown. Even when the signs are everywhere, most people would rather ignore them than accept how strange things are.
But if everyone keeps ignoring it, what's the risk?
Honestly, that's what keeps me up at night. If we mess with too many nodes without understanding how they connect, it's like breaking parts of an ancient machine. Rivers could jump their paths, droughts or floods might happen where nobody expects. Pollinators vanish, some patches of land could just stop. My grandmother called it the year without summer, or said it was when the river stopped singing. That's a hard reset, nature's way of protecting itself, but it's rough on us. There's still hope though. If we study the patterns and try to restore what's been broken with respect, not just take things for display, these sites can recover. It's urgent, but it's not too late.
So, if you hear about a strange discovery, notice weird animal migrations, or see your river suddenly changing, don't brush it off. These aren't just little trivia facts, they could be real signals from the planet. Whether we repair the system or risk a reset, it's not just for scientists. It's up to all of us to notice what's really happening in our world.
That's a lot to carry, but maybe also a lot we can do, right? Keep your eyes open, folks. The world's telling a bigger story than we guess. Regia, before we let you go, if someone listening notices a sudden animal gathering, a strange artifact, or even just an old ritual that's still alive in their town, what should they do?
Document what you see. Take notes, photos, trust your instincts, but above all, don't disturb the site or try to move things out of curiosity. Sometimes the old stories and customs are actually crucial. They've kept the network stable for generations. Report anything truly unusual to someone who studies this, but always respect the power of the place and the wisdom carried in local traditions.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight. You helped bring both the science and the legends to life. I think a lot of us will see rivers and ruins, and maybe the birds overhead a little differently after this.
Yes, thank you, Regia. This has been an eye-opener. We're really grateful you took the time to share all of this with us.
Thank you, Sky, and thank you, Reese. It's been a true pleasure. The more people looking out for the world's secrets, the better. G19 Cool, 19 in Dobranoc. Thank you, and good night.
And if you listening have your own strange find, weird artifact, or just a wild river story, send it over. We love hearing what you discover. And don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss an episode.
And next week, we'll follow a trail into some very peculiar tunnels and sealed chambers beneath city streets, modern mysteries tangled with ancient secrets. If you love hidden worlds, you won't want to miss it.